In this video, we're going to replace the distributor rotor on this Ford F-150. So we're going to start with disconnecting our negative terminal on our battery. It's going to be an 8mm here. Just going to loosen that up enough to take off that terminal. And we can set that terminal aside. So now our ignition coil is down here on the side of the engine block. To gain access to that, we're going to remove our intake tube. We're going to use a flathead screwdriver on our band clamp. And then if we follow this tube rearwards, we have two more band clamps right up by our throttle body. Again, flatheads. One right inside this cover. And then one right here. Now to remove this intake tube, you'll see we have one hose going right to our valve cover. We can remove this hose from our intake tube or our valve cover. We're going to take it right off of the valve cover. Just by pulling straight up. We'll remove that breather. All right, now with our intake tube loose, we shall pull it straight off. And from the inside, we'll move this breather tube on the other side of our power steering, and we'll pull this tube straight off. All right, so now that you've made your way to your distributor, what we're going to do is leave all of our wires intact. We're going to find on the two sides there will be two screws holding your distributor down. All right, so on our distributor, we have a flathead option here, which we're going to turn, loosen up this side. And then it should be straight across the other side. There'll be one more. We'll loosen up that one as well. Now if you decide to, you can take your wires off. Just make sure you mark where they are, what direction they're going, and where your cap is. So for us, we're going to keep in mind here, we're actually going to make a little mark with our screwdriver that our cap, when it goes back on, is going to line up right here with this notch. Now a silver permanent marker is great for this, or a white paint marker is great for this. For us, we're just going to use a little flat blade screwdriver and make a little scratch here. Know that we put our distributor back in the same place. Once our screws are loose, we can lift our distributor cap up. We have a little bit more to go here. And lift our distributor cap up. And there we have access to our rotor. So now we have the inside of our distributor. What you don't want to do is rotate this. You want to find your rotor, which is this piece right here. We're going to lift that rotor straight up and remove it. Set that aside, and our new rotor is going to go right back in, and you have a little tab on the back that's going to fit into a notch inside your distributor to align it back into the same position. I'm just going to press it down. Once you have your new rotor in place, we can take our distributor cap and reinstall. Now your two screw lines, or your two screws, are going to line up to the same place. The notch that we made should line up exactly in the same location. And we can tighten down our two screws. Okay, so now we're going to put our intake tube back on. So we have 2 ports up here by our throttle body. We're going to seat those in. Make sure they're flush all the way in. And we'll tighten down those 2 band clamps in the top. And while we're on top here, we'll put our breather back in to our valve cover. Just push that straight in. And we'll work our way back to our air filter housing. Slide this back into place. Again, make sure it's fully seated. And tighten down that clamp as well. All right, now onto our negative battery terminal. Seat that onto the terminal. Make sure it's pressed all the way down and rotated in a way where we can get to that bolt and tighten it back up. And we're only going to tighten this up until we get it to not spin. Make sure it's nice and tight. We don't need to over tighten it. And that's it.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.